So glad to see you. Let's pray real fast. Father, we just thank you for this time that we'll share together. Father, we don't know anything. You know it all. And so we lean into you, the one who has all knowledge and all wisdom. Please speak to us, speak to our hearts, and speak to the very place, God, that we need to hear, that fertile ground, God, that we need a seed planted in. Let that seed come tonight in the name of Jesus. Amen. Well, wow, y'all came back. Oh, my goodness. So glad to see you and some new faces. Grateful. So there are two QR codes. This one, I think we got it right. The illustrious Gabby, who is my admin, created a QR code. So if you want the PowerPoint slides, this is that QR code. I'll give you a minute for that. And then the next one we'll go to is the QR code for the survey. Difference between the two, this is only going to give you the slide presentation if you should want it. The next QR code, not the survey, I'm sorry, the next QR code is for you to write in your questions that will go to our moderator. And that is if you don't want to necessarily stand and ask a question, or if it comes to you in the moment and you want to make sure you don't forget it. So again, this QR code, which hopefully is working, is not. Okay. Okay, they're gonna work it. They're gonna get it. We got the text here. Okay. So let's go to the next QR code if we can. The space bar. Yeah, so the one in the bottom is a little small, but this one, you scan that one if you want to, again, ask a question in the moment so that you don't forget it. It will go to our moderator, and she will be able to reference that question when we get it. And we'll still do like we did last week. We'll still do a lot of interaction, questions and answers. But this is just in case you got something burning and we're in the middle of something and you don't want to forget it. You can write it down. It'll go to her, and we'll make sure we get it. So we're talking about last week. I was on a high all of last week after leaving this moment. Y'all know they had to put us out because we wouldn't leave. Lord, today I had to blame it on the bishop. It was the bishop's fault. It wasn't us, but it was something about the energy and the synergy in the room. And I'm going to start the same way I did last week, because I believe that anywhere there is expectation, God will come and fulfill it. If you don't show up with expecting anything, then you won't receive anything. So any area of your life, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a marriage. I don't care if it's school. I don't care if it's a job. Every day, even in your life, you should wake up with an expectation to get something out of that day. Because that expectation is then going to give you motivation. That motivation is then going to give you energy so that when you come up against a roadblock, you're going to remember what you were expecting. That's going to feed into your motivation so that you can push back past that roadblock that's trying to keep you from getting what you expected to get. So last week what we did, I asked you, what are you expecting from this time we're going to spend together? What do you want? There's no reason for me to talk, no reason for us to be here if it's not meeting the need. So anybody, and we got some mobile, maybe need to be mobile with our mic. The link is working? Okay, so link is working for the slides now. If it's not working, just pray until it starts working, okay? But it should be working. But what are you expecting? Anybody, pop up. What are you expecting? What do you want to hear? What do you need? Okay, somebody said you want to define what marketplace is, okay? What she wants a definition of marketplace. And we kind of talked a lot about that last week, but we can recap a little bit. Anybody else, what are you expecting? Yes, ma'am. Strategy. Give me a strategy for your business. Perfect. Anybody else, what are you expecting? Come on. Come on, entrepreneurs. Come on, business people. Come on. What you expecting? Woo, she expected a lot. She said how to walk me through it, how to collaborate the intricacies. Come on now. Don't y'all mess with her words. Intricacy of both ministry and marketplace so that they work collaboratively together. That's excellent. Yes, ma'am.
I would say, what does it really look like to minister in the marketplace and use your prophetic gift?
Ooh, she's expecting to find out what does it really look like to minister in the marketplace and use, you said prophetic gifts, but I'm just going to broaden it and use your gifts in the marketplace, your spiritual gifts in a secular marketplace. I just, did my little work, which I love it. Yes, ma'am.
Strategies on how to overcome imposter syndrome, how to silence the chatter when you are actively trying to build your business.
She wants to know, how do we get over imposter syndrome and silence those little voices in your head that keep trying to pull you down? It's not the crabs in the bucket. It's your own voices that's telling you, you ain't good enough. You ain't never done this. Last person you saw do it, they failed. Who you think you are? You weren't good in high school. How you going to be good in college? You know you don't know math. All of those voices that lied to you. Some of them might be true. Some of them there might be a little truth in there, but we still going to break those down because it's all from the pit of hell. It's all a lie, and it's all the form of intimidation. Intimidation is not real. Intimidation is used for you to think that something is bigger, more powerful than what it really is. Intimidation really is a form that has kept so many of us from reaching our potential because we would rather believe a lie about ourselves than find out what the truth is. Would you rather, how many of us have lived in the lie about what somebody else said about us versus taking that lie and throwing it out the window and running after the truth of who we know God created us to be? That lie is the same thing that won't let you open that business. That lie is the same thing that won't let you be in a committed relationship. That lie is the same thing that won't let you go on that audition. That lie is the same thing that will keep you from going to the bank because you think your credit score, because somebody told you you don't have the right kind of credit score, and you don't have the right kind of revenue, and you don't have the right kind of background. And those lies in your head keep you intimidated to keep you in a place of poverty instead of stepping out and saying, I am the head and not the tail. I am supposed to be the lender and not the borrower. Okay? Two more. What you expecting? Yes.
Building the business when it looks as if the resources aren't present.
Ooh. How do you build the business when it looks like, and that's a key word, looks like, because looks can be deceiving. In many cases, okay? Looks can be deceiving, okay? How do you build a business when it looks like the resources are not there? Yes, ma'am.
How do you build your brand after having a product and it just kind of like you procrastinate on it because you don't know how to build the brand?
I call that, how do you sustain yourself in the marketplace, in a new marketplace? Sustainability. I know I got something. I know people told me I got something, but I don't know what to do with it. I don't know if I can believe the people that told me it was good. I don't even know if I believe myself that it's good. But I know I have something, or I feel like God gave me this. I feel passionate about it, but can't nobody tell me how to structure it, what to do with it, how to protect it, where does it need to go, how do I market, what is marketing, what is digital marketing, all of these. Okay, now, let me be honest with you. We're not going to get to everything that you're expecting because it's a large room of expectations. But I think there's going to be droplets of something that's going to touch everything that we put in the atmosphere. Can we believe that to be true? All right, defining your role as a minister in the marketplace. Let's go to the next word. All right, so understanding roles. And I know the slides are a little hard to see, so that's why hopefully that link work and you can see them. If not, I broke this down in 3 categories. And so today, a little different from last week, I want to see if, and prayerfully, the Holy Spirit will just intervene because I want to marry biblically where we see what's happening in a biblical sense to what we need practically in the marketplace. So, and I wanted to break down this word minister. Because a lot of times when we hear minister, we think church, preaching, things of that nature. But there are several definitions in regards to minister, but then there are 3 categories that we can kind of put it in. So there's minister in terms of a noun, ministering, the act, and then your ministry. I think it's important for you to understand where you fall in all three of these categories. It's not an exhausted list, which just means this is not all of the definitions, but here are the ones that I think are important. So in minister, in terms of when we talk about understanding your role as a minister, what is a minister? It could be a servant, an agent, or a servant of God. Going too far. Take me. Yeah, just go back. Just this. Okay. All right. So, servant. If you feel like you're a servant, guess what? You qualify as a minister. Okay? Easy. Servant. If you feel like you're an agent, what is an agent? An agent is someone that has an assignment toward a purpose. They're agents, FBI agents. They are contracted or employed to do service for their organization, specifically for the purpose of bringing that mission to pass. Maybe you're an agent, servant of God. That should be everybody in here. If you feel like I am a servant of God, guess what? You're a minister. I don't have no license to give you. Oh, let me stay in the camera. I just like to walk around. I'm gonna try to stay this way. So these three categories, these three simple definitions qualify you as a minister in the marketplace. Servant, an agent. Agent means I have a purpose. Agent of God. God has given me a purpose to go after single mothers and to help them. God has given me, I'm an agent to help young kids. I'm an agent or I'm a servant. God has called me to servant leadership. He's called me to serve in a capacity, parking lot, on the door, PMT, serve in my office place. Administration, a lot of times, is service work. I am administrative assistant. I want to help somebody get to their goal. And then servant of God. Wherever I go, whatever I'm doing, God has called me to be his servant. Guess what? You are a minister. All the ministers, raise your hand. That should be everybody. Great, you're in the right place. Ministering, to act as a servant. Because it's one thing to be a servant, Holy Ghost. It's another thing to act as a servant, okay? It's one thing to be rich, and it's another thing to act like you're rich. Sometimes they're not the same, okay? To give aid. This is the act or the performance of ministry. To give aid, to give support. When I'm operating or when I'm ministering, either I am doing servant leadership, I'm doing the act of servanthood, or I am giving aid, I'm giving support. And finally, to supply. To supply. My act of ministry means I am supplying something. I am supplying something where there is a need. Need, demand, supply, demand, I am giving something. So my act of ministering is whatever my business is, whatever it is I'm doing, it is supplying a need. Does that make sense, everybody? All right, then ministry, very important, because without the purpose, without the umbrella, you won't do the other two functions well. So what is your ministry? My ministry is the activity of a certain servant duty. I know I'm called to servanthood. Or ministry is your calling or your purpose. I'm very in tune with what I've been called to do. I understand what my purpose is. Sometimes people have trouble finding out what their calling and purpose is. Simple thing to do. What do you have a passion for? Where does your passion lie? 9 times out of 10, the place of your passion is also the place of your purpose. That thing that keeps gnawing at you, the thing that keeps you up at night, the thing that you can't get around, the thing that you just default to doing. Some people, when they come into a room, all they can do is look at how unorganized it is and say, let me put this right here. No, you get here. Because it's the default, they can't help it. They walk into a messy room, they say, I can't be in here because this is messing with my mind. Because inside of you, you're defaulted because your purpose is organization. Your purpose is alignment. Your purpose is to put things in the place that they need to be. A lot of times we miss out on what our ministry is because we think it's something deep, we think it's something out there, when simply it's the thing that you default to. That's who God created you to be. It's the thing that you naturally go to. It's the thing that, oh, she always talking. Oh, she always bossing people around. No, she's a leader. You got to stop letting people define what your purpose is based off of their estimation or their perspective, because 9 times out of 10, they're assigning you something that's incorrect. You got to learn that your words have power. I'm not bossy, I'm a leader. I understand my purpose. I understand what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't like confusion. I don't like drama. So no, I'm not being negative or cantankerous. I just like alignment. You've been allowing somebody to talk for you, and then you believe their lie, and that plants a seed in your spirit. Now you're walking out their purpose instead of your purpose. That's why your business is not working. Because the business design that you had, you abandoned for somebody else's design because you started imposter syndrome. You started to emulate somebody that God never called you to be. That's not the business he told you to do. We don't need that from you. We need what God gave you. We don't need a replica of that. You don't have to create that. Create what he put in you. God has not run out of ideas. Why do you think God has to replicate you in somebody else? He hasn't run out of ideas. He didn't create you and then forget how to be creative. He gave you your own design. If he can make snow, the particles of snow different, if he can create our hands and all these lines be different, if he can do all these intricate things, why is it that he has to give you an idea he gave somebody else? Stop being afraid to go after what's in your spirit. Stop being afraid to launch out into the deep. Stop being afraid to walk on water, Peter. I know you've never seen anybody do it. That doesn't mean you can't do it. Keep your eyes on him and you won't drown. Okay, I'm getting excited. Let me calm down. All right. Does that make sense, everybody? Are y'all walking with me? Okay? So we understand we're ministers. That's why we're in here. We understand what it is to be in the practice of ministering. And then we understand we have to find out, what is my ministry so I can be productive in these other things. Next slide. So our motto is Jesus. We can find Jesus in every one of these categories. I won't exhaust it, but I'll just go through it fast. I know it's small. Our motto of Jesus as a servant, Philippians 2:7, but made himself of no reputation and took upon him the form of a servant and was made in the likeness of men. Jesus was an agent. In these last days, he has spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, and through him also he made the universe. And Jesus was a servant of God. John 5:30, I can do nothing on my own. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not my own will, but the will of him who what? Sent me. He was a servant of God. We find Jesus ministering to act as a servant. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to what? Serve, and give his life as a ransom for many. Jesus gave aid, for indeed he does not give aid to angels, but he does give aid to the seed of Abraham. Jesus supplied. We know this story. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to his disciples to distribute to the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. Jesus, in the act of ministry, he knew what he was called to do. Activity of a servant. For the Son of Man is come to seek and save that which is lost. That was his ministry. He knew his calling and purpose. For I have come down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. And Jesus, thank God, gives us support. Peace I leave to you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. We can find Jesus in all those categories. Now you understand why I use these 3 categories to help us define who we are in this. If you can't find Jesus in it, it's probably not the ministry for you. If you want to understand how to combine ministry and marketplace, then you need a role model. Who better than Jesus to be our role model? Reference this slide so you can see, when I do aid, am I following the model of Jesus? When I'm ministering, when I'm doing my act of service, am I following the model of Jesus? Next slide. So now, 2, after we understand our role, understanding strategy. Several of you asked, I need a strategy for my business. I need a strategy. Well, let's go to the strategy maker, Jesus, okay? Jesus had a business plan for the marketplace. What was his business plan? Luke 4:18. The Spirit of the Lord is on me because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free. All right? This is Jesus' business plan. His mission, to seek and save that which is lost. His goals, proclaim good news, proclaim freedom for the prisoners, recover sight for the blind, set the oppressed free. Business plan, mission, goals. Business plan, mission, goals. Well, Pastor Oscar, I can't get my business off the ground. Business plan, mission, goals. Well, Pastor Oscar, I'll be doing this one day. You know, I want to sell hair, but then I want to sell cell phones. And then, you know, I got an Amazon store. And then, you know, I babysit. And then, you know, I drive trucks. Ooh, you know, I want to, you know, business plan, mission, goals. Next one. So we're going to do a little work. What is your business plan for the marketplace you are entering? I want you to take your pen, take your phone, because I want you to write this down, because I want to hear. What is your mission? You should know this. You got 45 seconds to write down what your mission is and write down 4 of your business goals. Go. 45 seconds. Why 45 seconds? Because you should know it. You should know it. It should be in your head. You should be able to count it off. You probably don't even need 45 seconds. You need 30 seconds and 15 seconds just to talk to somebody. What is your mission? And tell me 4 of your business goals. 20 seconds. Get ready, Sister Jasmine, because they're going to be popping up. Tell somebody you never know who's in the room who can fund your business if you have clear goals. Now, see, half of y'all didn't say that because you don't believe it. It's okay, though. That's all right. Somebody, let's try it again. There we go. You never know who's in the room who can fund your business if you have clear goals. Who wants to go first? What's your mission? Right here. My sister right here. She had her hand up. Okay.
Hi, my name is Erica Miller. I'm a personal stylist and a personal shopper. I specialize in the career-driven woman, and I assist her from going into day to night. My goal is to have a boutique and winery, to build a vineyard that will grow fruits and vegetables to assist those that are in need.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. Let's clap for the Sister Erica. We believe that vision is going to come to pass. Who else? Who else? Right here. Right here.
Good evening. My name is Shakira. My mission is to empower women to heal, to build a life of purpose and
Turn the mic toward her a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
You want me to start over?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My name is Shakira. Good evening. My mission is to empower women to heal, to build a life of purpose and prosperity. And one of my goals is to host retreats so that they can have workshops to work towards that healing.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Who else? Right there. And we come over this side. Yes.
My name is Garth McCreath. I am a chef, and of course, you guys know you can't.
Mission, vision, and mission
okay.
and goals.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I am a chef, and I have a nonprofit organization.
What's your mission?
And my mission is to help feed the no homeless hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that last year, and was able to win some souls from
What's
that.
your goal?
And my goal is to want to keep doing that, but I need some support, financial support.
That's not You went too far. I asked you a goal, not what you needed. Okay? And I'm using you because I know him. I can use him as an example. Yeah. A lot of times when we're not distinct, because we are passionate, so we have to learn, and you've heard this term before, elevator speech. Because when you get in front of the right person, and I'm going to be transparent, in love, they don't care about all of that. Because they're looking at what is going to be my return on my investment. That's your passion. That's your purpose. That's what you're called to. That's not my passion. That's not my purpose. It sounds great, but I want to know, how am I going to get a return on this investment? So I want it clear and defined. So again, I know I can use him as an example, but again, I want us to really, we're in here to get biblical principles, but we're also here to get practical understanding. That sometimes you only get 30 seconds in front of the person that could fund everything you want to do. And if you give them too much of this bloviation, they're going to walk away because they didn't get, they're going to say, you don't really know what your goal is. You're telling me about the problem. I don't want to hear about the problem. What is your goal? Because I can help you solve the problem. I got the money, the resources to solve the problem. We talk about that later. What I want to hear about, I want to know that you've thought this through so much that you can confine it to a 30-second pitch to let me know exactly what you're doing, how you want to do it, and where you want to go with it. Who else? Thank you, brother. Right here.
Our company is called couplesdevelopment.com. Our mission is to help break the generational cycles of broken homes, fatherless children, and burnt-out single moms. Our goals, one of them is going to be first vetting our clients with personality tests. Second is going to be matchmaking service called Blissful Bonds. Third is going to be relationship coaching. And fourth, for couples who are broken up, we're going to have a co-parenting program called Exclusive as well.
Excellent, excellent. And I love you, bro. I hope you didn't take offense at that. You know, okay. I just want to make sure, because this is a room of love. Right over here, my brother in the green. Yes.
Hello, my name is Dalen Randolph. One of the missions for my business is to help businesses recruit and retain Gen Z talent. Mm-hmm. One of the goals is to create intergenerational leadership programs within whoever's company.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, right here. Last one. Mm-hmm.
Okay. My name is Tanisha Chikwe.
Come on, you better stand up. All right.
The name of my business is Saturday Morning Cereal Bar. My mission is to create a co-bonding space for families to be able to enjoy each other over a bowl of cereal, milkshakes, you name it. There will be a play area, unlimited access to Wi-Fi, so that if a mother does need to do work, she's not guilty with being able to take her kids to play while being able to still work. And so my mission is to bring back the tradition of family back to Saturday mornings.
Awesome. All right. So now with what we've heard, somebody that did not talk, I want you to tell me something that you heard from somebody's mission or goal. What do you remember? This is going to test to see how effective the people who talked about what they did is. Tell me, anybody.
About the couples, how he's going to do couple ministry, the matchmaking, bringing couples back together.
Good. Okay, great. Somebody else. What did you hear? Right here. Mm-hmm.
I'll say I have a mission and a purpose, but I like hearing him. It made me think like just be able to have my stuff ready and prepared just in case the moment arrives.
Absolutely. Good takeaway. What did you hear from somebody right here? What did you hear from somebody? What one of their goals?
Green, she's a stylist and a personal shopper.
Because she got a little style going on. Yeah, it's good. Okay, one more person. What did you hear right behind you?
Since we have a very young family, her mission really touched my heart. So
Awesome. Why did I want us to do that? Because it is so important, business owners, entrepreneurs, those who are starting a business, that if your keywords, what we say in business, there are keywords, there are trigger words, that when you're talking to people, you have to know who you're talking to, because you have to use the language that they can relate to. And you have to give them in that pitch something that will stick with them, so when they hear the person that gives, the 30th person that comes, something that you said would have stuck into their minds and say, you know what, I need to go back to that person. I was in college. I went to a predominantly white school, PWI, when I was living in Missouri. And in most of the scenarios that I was in, I was probably the only black guy, right? So in my mind, I'm already going to kind of stand out, but at the same time, my competition was a little harder. I was in college, and there was this guy who, big-time producer that came from Hollywood, and he sat in, and it was a group of us, and he said, give me a 30-second pitch. So everybody was going around, and I was always that person that said, you know what, when you get to me, you ain't gonna never forgive me. He got to me, and now everybody was giving, this, da-da-da-da-da. He got to me, and I said, my name is Oscar Williams. I am da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da, thank you. And he said, can I use you as an example? I said, yes, absolutely. He said, this man gave me who he was, where he's going, and what he needs in 30 seconds. And because he did that, I'm giving you an invitation to come to Hollywood and pitch your reality show to me. Okay. Thank you, God. Woo, I'm on high. All right. Let me keep going with this testimony. So I fly out to LA. Indeed, he had an office in Sony. I don't know if you all remember George Burns, I think his name was. This guy worked on the movie, Friend of God. It was the movie George Burns was in where he played God. It's an old movie. Okay, so I'm dating myself. So he did a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm excited. I get to his office. He invites me in. He said, okay, pitch. And so I said, okay, well, I got this reality show, and I give it to him. And he said, I can't take this nowhere. He said, I can't. This is, who are you? Not who am I, he didn't remember me, but who are you? Because this is not the guy I met at the school. What was my problem? I didn't know how to pitch. I knew how to talk about myself in a blurb, but I didn't know how to present my plan in a strategic way for the audience I was stepping in front of. So now I've been dreaming and praying and had this reality show that I knew God had gave me. Here I had the opportunity that I am in LA, flown out at Sony Studios in the office of this mega producer who tells me I'm going to take this thing to the vice president of Viacom, and I present it to him, and he says, I can't do nothing with this. He said, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to give you a day. Come back to me tomorrow with something better. Okay? Went back to my hotel. I started praying. Because I'm holding this. We pray. I'm praying. I'm saying, Lord, whoo. Now, y'all don't put me out of church. That's my first mistake. Instead of praying, I should have been researching. Instead of speaking in tongues, I should have been trying to find what kind of language should I be speaking to this producer so that he understands that if he takes a chance on me, I'm not going to blow his money. No, Oscar was praying. And then, which I'm so glad you said that, imposter syndrome, I wrote something, and this is a safe space. I wrote something, and it was totally not representative of me. I'm in there just using all this foul language because I'm thinking, and it wasn't a bad reality show, but I'm just trying to make it jazzy and hip hop and and I'm like, okay, this is it. I take it back to him. He says, what is this? He said, man, you're not ready. Never returned an email from me. Never seen him since that day. It was the greatest lesson of my life. Because some things that we're praying for that God send our way, God is keeping from you because he said, I don't want you to blow the only chance you're going to get at this. And I know you think I'm being a bad father, and I know you think I'm keeping the resources from you, and I know you keep asking me for the money, and I know you think you have a good idea, but you haven't thought through the strategy. You don't even know what your business plan is. You don't have any realistic goals. You want to save the world. You can't save the world. You're called to the nations. Which nation? You can't even speak Spanish. And you call to the nations. How you going to communicate with them? And if I brought the resource your way, you would blow it. And I'm keeping it from you to give you an opportunity to do the research and to do the work and to do the strategy. I have not lost the ability to bring resources. He owns the cattle of 1,000 hills. God is not lacking concerning any of his promises. But because he's a good father, he said, I'm keeping you from this until you're ready. And when you present yourself ready, I'm going to rush it in. I'm going to open the window of heaven and pour you out a blessing that you won't even have room enough to receive when you are ready. All right, let's keep going. Y'all make me too excited. That's why they don't. All right, so in Jesus' strategy, check this out. This was amazing to me when I really thought about this. Now, we don't think of Jesus as a businessman, but he was a minister. And he was stepping into the marketplace. He comes 30, he comes out the wilderness. Jesus is getting ready to step into the marketplace. Now, Jesus knew, not like us, what he was getting ready to face. Man, I'm going to have to raise some people from the dead. I'm going to have to cast out some demons. I'm going to have to feed about 5,000 folk with some fish and loaves of bread. I'm going to have to calm storms. I'm going to have to do okay. Now, what we would do if we were looking at ministry in a futuristic perspective, and that is the stuff that we would have to face, we would go and get intercessors, we would get prophets, rabbis, priests, grandma, because she prayed good. We would get all of this around us because, man, we got a lot of ministry work to do. Jesus went and got businessmen. Ain't that something? He didn't go and get a preacher. For the work that he had before him, he equipped himself with business people, fishermen and tax collectors, politicians. And he says to them, follow me, and I will make you fisher of men. You're not this already. So I'm going to take you as you are, and I'm going to make you what I need you to be. I don't want you to abandon the secular thing that you do, that business idea. You don't have to abandon that. Somebody asks, how do I operate in the marketplace in my ministry? Stop abandoning the thing that you naturally are. Bring that to the table. You don't have to shut down you don't have to be less of a stylist just because you're in church. Bring that style to church and get some of these people that can't dress together. You don't have to turn that down because people don't understand it. You're shutting off your creativity because people don't understand it. And you're trying to conform to something. You're trying to be a fisherman when he said, just follow me and I'll make you this. I'm calling you because of what you are. I'll make you who I need you to be. So we never see the real you because you're operating in an appearance of something that you don't even know what it is. He went and got business people who were, guess what? Who were operating in their business gift. He didn't have to figure out if they were fishermen because they were fishing. You want me to figure out what your occupation is. You want me to figure out what your business is. I go to your website and I don't know what it is that you do because you have pictures of everybody else but what you do. You got stock photos. I don't know if you're selling clothes, beauty products, weed. I don't know what it is going on. I ask you to talk about your business and you talk about everything else. You give me your history. You give me what your mama did. You give me who hurt you, where you came from. And after 2 minutes of hearing all of that backstory, I'm bored. Jesus saw them doing what their occupation was. I'm a tax collector. That's what I'm doing. I don't care what you think about it. That's what I'm doing. If you want me, you got to take me where I am. I ain't afraid, Jesus is saying, of what it is that you do. Follow me, and I will make you who I need you to be. Because I'm going to allow you to use that, couple it with this. Does that make sense? Okay, so I think this is my next slide. So I told you, you never know who's in the room. And I bring this up because this strategy is so important, who Jesus had around him, who he equipped himself with. And so part of that, I was sitting, and one of my god sister said, I want you to meet somebody. And I went to a restaurant, sat down, and I talked to this man, found out he was a member of my church. Y'all know my church is Potter's House. I go here. Okay, member of church, member for 20-some years, listened to his story, and was astounded by what I heard. So let's go. I think it should be the next clip. I want you all to watch this. We can clap for that. So guess what? I asked him to come. I said, listen, we're doing Bible study here at your church, and what better way to understand ministry in the marketplace but to hear from somebody who's actually doing ministry in the marketplace right in the midst. Also, we need to go to Hillside Prime. I went Sunday. It's amazing, turkey leg hut. So I want my brother Cedric to come up real fast. See, I told you, you never know who's in the room who can fund your business if you have right goals. Now, you didn't speak it because you didn't know who was in the room. Now, here's a serial entrepreneur who understands what it is to have realistic goals and to go after them. And he was telling me something that I want him to drop into this atmosphere. We were touching on it last week, but I think it's so important for all of us business owners. He was talking to me about trust. So we use the word trust in church as a means of admiration and things of that nature. But there is another form of trust that protects us. And I would love for him to talk about that and just give us a little bit of his story.
Okay, hello everybody. It's a blessing to be here today. Praise God. You know, God has used me in a mighty, mighty way. You know, I'm no better than you. But one thing I do realize that, you know, there was this man that was leaving his home and he trusted people with talents. Some people had 3 or 4 talents, some had 2, some had 1. But what you have to realize when you understand your purpose and why God has created you, raise your hand if you know your birthday. All right? Raise your hand if you know your death day. So what that tells me is your time is your greatest asset. Okay, out of all the assets, it ain't no car, it ain't no house, it ain't all that good stuff, okay? I'm an old country boy from the backwoods of Minden, Louisiana, 58 years old. Moved to Dallas when I was about 12 years old. And I realized that I hated school. So I wanted to hear him get out. So I came out my 11th grade year with honors. And because I got that diploma, an opportunity was presented before me from Texas Instruments. And they gave me a salary at 17 of $55,000 a year. They also gave me and paid for my education. They also just put me in a position. I had to work all day and I had to go to school all night, but I never had a student loan. And then God, you know, after 8 years, 8 to me means new beginnings, I decided to quit my job. Everybody told me I was crazy. I'm losing all these great benefits and all that. And you know what? I guess I was a little crazy because I did lose my house. They repoed my cars. But what I had to realize is that God had something more in store for me, okay? And what I realized that he had in store for me, he said, if you trust me. And I say that trust word is powerful. And I trusted him. And he put me in a position. I got in the insurance industry. I then led me to the mortgage business because nobody couldn't afford insurance because you had this thing called a mortgage. And you couldn't afford to buy insurance and invest the difference and all that kind of stuff. So I said, I'm going to go free up people and refinance their mortgages. And then as I was going through that phase, I said, well, if I can get money for them, I can get money for me. And I started getting into the real estate. I started buying, fixing, and flipping. The next thing I know, in 3 years, I built 100 homes in Lake Ridge. 5 to 10,000 square feet. Brothers and sisters, I was making $500,000 a month. I had 15 vehicles. I had 3 mansions. And I said, God, is this real? Am I pinching myself? I can help people. You know, I had a company called AmeriDream, helping people obtain and maintain the American dream of home ownership and financial security. But that changed. Everything went down. The economy collapsed. People lost homes and all that great stuff. Then God told me, he said, I got another situation for you. Trust me. I said, here come that word trust again. And then I created a company called Kingdom Concepts. He said, I want you to rebuild my kingdom. I said, God, me? Rebuild your kingdom? And he said, okay. The name of the company is Kingdom Concepts. We believe in credit restoration, debt elimination, asset accumulation, and preservation for who? The next generation. Now, that's a lot of information, okay? But how do you make that happen? Well, the first thing you do, you look at your skills, your talents, and gifts. God said your gift will make a place for you in the kingdom. And then he's going to equip you with talents. And then when you put all that together and understand your purpose, then you can start walking the way God wants you to go. See, his word can't come back void. I asked for the mansions. I asked for the 15 vehicles. I asked for the $500,000 a month. 7 years I was making that kind of money, you understand? I had a helicopter on lease. I could stay here 2 nights, here 2 nights, here 2 nights, you know, and I wasn't perfect. You know, I have 2 children. They 19. And you know what? They ain't twins. So I'm not perfect. I made some mistakes along the way, but I took care of my responsibility, okay? Now, where I'm at today, God has put me into a business. It's called Trust Up. That means everything you have, trust it up. Well, how did I come up with that? Well, I had to reread the Bible again. Sometimes we got to go back to in the beginning because we miss some things. And when I was in that beginning, God said, the world is mine, the fullness thereof. I said, but golly, God, they told me it was mine, I thought. He said, you know what? It ain't yours, but I want you to be a good steward. I said, okay. So I said, okay. He said the world was his. That means I can't own anything, but I can be a good steward for the time I'm going to be here. He also said, you should owe no man, that the borrower become the servant to the lender. Then I heard that, and I said, well, God, I owe every man. And I was praying, thanking you for those blessings. He said, you know what? My word can't come back void. I had to give you what you asked for. You thought it was for you, but I had to show you that it wasn't. And I said, okay, so I became debt free. Then I went further here. I said, the world is yours. I should not owe no man. The borrower become the servant to the lender. And then he hit me. He said, a good man. I said, huh? Good. Leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And I said, am I doing it? Raise your hand if you leave an inheritance to your children's children. Okay? Some of you think you are, but you're not. One thing I did, I studied James Brown. You know, my name's Cedric Brown. I thought I was related. Found out I wasn't. But you know what? It took 18 years for his estate to go through probate. He was a king of soul. Then I studied the queen of soul. She's dead. She's gone. That's Aretha Franklin. Still in probate today. Then I looked at Michael Jackson, king of pop. Didn't have a will or a trust. Then I looked at Prince. I said, okay, I know he could afford the best of attorneys and all. Man, it was a mess. Then I looked at Martin Luther King. He had a dream. And I respect him a lot. But his family had to go through a lot because he's still fighting over royalties and stuff because he didn't have a will or a trust. And then I looked at John McCain. Y'all know who John McCain is? All right? Did you know he's worth $400 million at his time of death? Huh? Did you know his family owned part of Anheuser-Busch Corporation through a trust? All right, then I stopped there and I looked at Bob Dole. I said, $400 million? How did he do it? Well, you know, he died. He had a good eulogy. But I ain't heard about no probate. I ain't heard about no estate taxes. I ain't heard about no lawsuits. All right? Then I looked at Colin Powell. $60 million at time of death. How did he do it? Well, one thing all of them had in common, they had a trust. So God said, you're going to rebuild my kingdom. And I'm going to give you the vehicle. He said, see, the trust is going to put you in a position not to own anything. The trust is going to put you in a position to become a good steward. The trust is going to put you in a position to receive the wealth of the wicked. I said, the wicked could get wealth? He said, yes, because my word can't come back void. But if their heart ain't right, you know, it's going to be turned over to somebody whose heart is right. Are you going to be in a position to receive it? Okay? And then he said, your children. See, I spoil my children. But that's why he said your children's children, because, see, my children can't provide for their children the way I provided for them. I have to take care of grandkids, too. All right? But that's our fault, because we don't want our kids to go through what we had to go through. But, you know, did we turn out so bad? I don't think so. All right? So, credit restoration, debt elimination, asset accumulation, preservation for the next generation, but you got to have the right vehicle to help you do it. You know, I was born, I got a Social Security number, I got a birth certificate, I went through 12 years of education, then I moved to higher education, I got a bachelor's degree in engineering technology, and I said, this is where I'm going. God said, I'm going to let you go, but you're going to go where I want you to go. So when my heart rate came down to 10%, I said, God, you finna take me out of here. I said, you know what? I'm ready. I've lived a good life. He said, good. Now I can use you. He said, because you faced with death now. They said, it ain't nothing they can do for you. And I said, you know, they said, we'll put this jacket on you to shock your heart back. You can take this medication. We'll try to preserve you as long as we can. I said, okay. Then my mouth started to hurt real bad. I had these wisdom teeth. You know, as a black man, we hate to go to the doctor. So I had that pain. I couldn't bear it no more. And God told me, until the pain of remaining the same outweighs the pain of change, you have nothing else to gain and possibly everything to lose. So I went to the doctor. They removed those wisdom teeth. Went back to the doctor. Checked my heart. He started calling everybody in. I said, oh, man. I didn't really say man. I said, another word. I said, it must be my time. It's about up. He said, what did you do? I said, what do you mean? He said, it's like your heart never had an issue. I said, well, it wasn't nobody but God. But you know what he told me? Anything that's close to your heart. See, your mouth is a very powerful tool. You can say things, you're going to put things in it, but anything that close to your heart can affect your heart, especially if your mouth get infected. All right? So at that 10%, my heart came back now to 55%. So he gave me double grace. Then I realized my time was my greatest asset out of all the cars, the houses, all the stuff that I had. You know what? And when I realized that, I said, God, I'm working for you now. Rebuild the kingdom. And that's how I got here today. So now, yes, you see the Mayweather Boxing and Fitness Gym. Why did I do that? Well, because we don't pay attention to our bodies. We don't pay attention to our health. And then Mayweather stands for wealth. You know what? Because, you know, all of us in a ring of life, and we fighting. There's no fight like a boxer. There's no workout like a boxer's workout. And if you in a ring and you fighting tigers, you fighting lions, you fighting bears, and you ain't been coached, you ain't been trained, chances are you're going to get knocked down. But like Les Brown would say, if you can look up, you can get up. Okay? You know, I reached out to him. He became one of my clients. But you just don't want to get knocked out. Okay? So then I left, I got out of that situation and got the gym up and running. I said, signifies fight. Now, you know, I ain't never went no workout gym. I ain't never known nothing about no boxing. They said, how you going to run a gym? I say, supernaturally, God's going to do it. Watch what God do. Then went from the gym, I was trying to fund another guy. You never know who in the room can fund you and your ideas. And he wasn't quite ready. Wanted to fund him to do 2 restaurants. One was called the Turkey Leg Mac. Then God told me, I want you to take that over. It's going to be called Turkey Leg King. It's about building a kingdom, all right? And then, you know, got that open in January, started doing well. It's made $1.7 million since January. And then he led me to build another. I'll call it Solomon's Temple. It's the White House on the hill, okay? Reminds you of Jerusalem when you see the top on it, okay? And he said, open up this 5-star steak and seafood restaurant. I said, well, God, one don't exist. They said, well, they won't give us nothing like this. Then God said, you know what? You need to tell my people we are they. And I'm finna show you the way how you're going to get the only 5-star steak and seafood restaurant in the southern sector of town open. You're going to have valet service. It's going to be 5-star. I said, but I don't know nobody that I can. He said, just trust me. All right? And now that's open today, okay? Now, everything is in a trust. I don't own anything, but I control everything, okay? The trust gives me a lot of benefits. See, it's made me lawsuit-proof because you can't sue a trust. A trust is an agreement to manage property for one or more beneficiaries, your children's children. The trust gives me tax benefits to be able to defer income taxes and use that money to be able to grow wealth. The trust puts me in a position to have privacy and anonymity because most people don't know me. They don't know what I do, and I don't want them to really know what I do, okay? It's like I was sitting here before you today. So I don't want any bragging rights, but I want to be that example to show you how we can break through. Now I'm opening up the door for other guys like you. See, I hate to see a black restaurant go to soul food and stop. We can go take it to the next level. Call 6-star. That's where I'm going, not a 5, okay? And he said, well, how can you run a gym? How can you run 2 restaurants? Most people can't do 1. How can you run an estate planning company? And how can you buy and fix 15 to 16 properties per year in real estate? I said, well, I'm like the man that left the house that decided to look at talents. And I find people that I can take and their talents and their gifts, and I strategically put them in place, okay? So you have to learn to make your money work for you. You can't work for money. You can't just be a consumer. So my mindset has become, I like to buy businesses that make money. I like to be able to employ people, but also grow those individuals. I don't want to hold you down. I don't want you to be a slave, but I want to show you that if I can do it, you can do it too. And let me tell y'all something. You can do it too. Thank y'all for your time.
Right. Y'all, come on, let's celebrate Brother Cedric. He gave us a lot of nuggets. We are proud of you and we support you. Y'all, he's one of our own. That's a Potter's House member. Hey, after I heard his story, I went to his restaurant. I asked him to come and share because part of the deliverance is being able to see it happen right before you, not just talk about it. I want to take a moment because I know we talked about a lot. Are there any questions? I don't know if you did the QR code, but are there any questions? We talked about a lot. We've got a lot of information. Anything, anybody? Yes, ma'am.
How can you tell the difference between fatigue when it comes to poor strategy and fatigue with God's timing?
That's really good. She said, how can you tell the difference between fatigue because your strategy is weak or fatigue, and I'm going to just change the word, fatigue meaning maybe this is not the road. Maybe I've exhausted whatever this is. Maybe it's time for something else. And that's very crucial. It starts at the beginning. Okay, so I like to work out. So my workout is really based off of how I prepare to go in it. If I am not prepared to endure the workout, I will get fatigued sooner. So preparation is strategy. If I am in a business, and we talked about this when we first started, if you cannot, one of the things that he did is there were 4 points that he gave right off that he was consistent in saying in terms of what his business offered. Part of that fatigue is if you can't understand and decipher and communicate and articulate what it is, the vision, mission, and goals, you will tire yourself out going down several different roads because you haven't figured out what road is for you. That's where fatigue comes from. I'm trying this, I'm going over here, I'm working out. So if I go in the gym and I haven't decided today is back day, this is what I'm going to focus on, I will tire myself out doing all of these other exercises before I get to the main thing. And when I get to the main thing, when I should be putting all my energy toward my back workout, now I'm tired because I did legs and I did arms. And now the energy and the substance I need to really pull on my back, I've exerted in all of these other places. It starts with your strategy and your foundation. If you haven't figured out, and here's the trouble with creative people, we will always get creative ideas. Creativity will always flow. You cannot base your next move off of the idea you got in your dream. My mother told me something that made so much sense to me. She said, your gift will make room for you. We hear this a lot. Scripture, it's Bible. But don't be surprised when your gift works. That's not an indication that that's what you should be doing or where you should be. She said, baby, you could go to Alaska and your gift will work in Alaska. That doesn't mean you're supposed to live in Alaska because that's where your gift worked. So we might spend too much time in an area or in a lane, but because our gift is working, we think that's where we should be instead of stepping back and saying, Father, what is my business plan? Who am I called to? What demo am I called to? I said it earlier, you're not called to the nations. That's too broad. Narrow that down. Get specifics about God is a God of specifics. He's not ambiguous. He's not just sending you out somewhere and just go. Jesus knew exactly what his purpose is, to seek and save that which is lost. Once you have that, then you can operate. Now, when you get to the place that you have exhausted what you've been called to do, then you will then see the next place because God is not going to just leave you at a dead end. Does that make sense, my sister? Thank you for that question. That was good.
Okay, one thing I want to say to you guys. We're in a legal world, and you need to know your laws. Raise your hand if you have a copy of the Constitution in your house. You don't even know your rights. So you got to get that Constitution. See, on Article 10, it tells you some things you can do when it comes to private agreements and all this kind of stuff. Another thing I want you to know, raise your hand if you've heard of the Corporate Transparency Act. Okay? Do y'all understand what that means? I just told you your time is your greatest asset. It's time for you to start that business and get it in place right now because he's starting January the 1st. You have to turn yourself, your ID, your information in to the Financial Crimes Division of the United States Treasury if you're going to control an LLC, a C Corp, or a S Corp in the United States of America. Well, you say, what does that mean? Well, that means they want a copy of your ID, they need your address, they want to stop money laundering, they want to stop drug and human trafficking, they want to stop tax evasion, they want to stop loan fraud, all right? So that means over 32 million small businesses now. We have 12 months starting January to get on this list. If you don't get on this list, they're going to fine you $500 a day up to $10,000. They also will give you a felony now of 2 years in prison. And if you don't open up your business now and open it up in January, you only have 30 days before you have to start to give them all this information. If you have a business already starting January, you got 12 months. So know the laws about what you're trying to do also. So that's going to help you make your decision and help you start making some timings. And so I'm just kind of letting you know you're at the right place at the right time, and you got the right tools, and you're getting the right information. So it's just time to do it. I just had to throw that in because most of us don't know about that law. Google it, Corporate Transparency Act. It's going to affect every small business. If you're a bank, you'll be exempt. If you're an insurance company, you'll be exempt. If you're a nonprofit, you'll be exempt. If you have a small business and you're making $5 million and you have over 20 employees, you will be exempt. If your business is in a trust, and all trusts are not created equal, you will also be exempt. Just want to leave you with that. All right.
Okay, so that was a great segue, Mr. Brown. The question actually is to him, Pastor Oscar. Are you open to receive new business as it pertains to estate planning?
I'm quite inundated, but I definitely, would be glad to, help you guys if you need the help. We do have licensed attorneys, enrolled IRS agents that can pretty much give you the information that you need to actually, get the information. So yes, I'm open to do so. Okay, and I'll get you a card. Okay.
You have not because you asked not. Anybody? Yes, over here.
Hey, Dr. Oscar, yeah, thanks for that.
Thank you for being open. Yes, thank you for being open. Yes.
So I have a nonprofit, but I'm registered with the state. But I want to know, could you help me? Because I know you have one too. How to get the 401c status from the Internal Revenue Service, and maybe you could help me personally or directing someone.
So yeah, I'm gonna refer to something that Brother Cedric said. Yes, you don't have to answer it. I'm just going. Let's talk after. And we talked about this last week. What I would recommend, and I think when one of my sisters was talking about the patent, it's good to get advice from people, but when you're setting up foundationally, there are attorneys, there are people who they specialize in that type of work. I went and I got a law firm when I was setting up my 501c3. I had people who say, "Oh, I can do it for you," but I didn't trust that because the foundation of your business is going to determine if it stands. And there are things, nothing beats you educating yourself on it. What did I do? I wanted to understand about real estate, so I went to loan officer school. And I got my certification. Not that I'm ever going to be a loan officer, I was in the past, but I wanted to understand what are the laws now. So that when I go apply for a mortgage and they're telling me this, this, and that, I can say, no, because I know and I passed the test myself. So yes, I can direct you, we can talk about it, I can look at your business structure and give my input, but at the end of the day, I'm going to send all of us back to someone that specializes in that field because the laws are ever evolving. And you don't want to leave it to chance when you're setting up something, especially with nonprofits, because there's so much in that you have to, when you file your taxes, how your governance board is set up, the rules, the regulations, that you want to make sure that you have an attorney that you have on your side that can give you that foundation. But we can definitely talk about it. Yes, ma'am.
I have an LLC, and I was a little concerned and taken back about what he was saying. So I'm a little concerned about where I am right now with it. It's a beard oil and a hair oil. I'm a hairstylist, and I created it out of pain. But it's a story. I want to share a book on it. But right now, I want to protect my LLC, and I'm not sure with what he just said. It kind of made me nervous. I want to make sure that the LLC is tight and right.
Look, you don't have any problem by reporting to the Financial Crimes Division if everything about you is in order. Okay? It's a financial crimes database. Your local police department now is going to have information on you and your business. They're going to have your address and all that good stuff, your ID. The FBI is going to have your information, and the CIA and national security. And we need this because there's a lot of criminals, there's a lot of things. The small amount of people that's doing these illegal things is making it bad for us all. But the United States has to do something about it, and they passed a law during the pandemic. So you don't have anything to worry about. Now, you know, those of you that took out PPP loans and EIDL loans, they just changed the law 3 months ago. They got 10-year statute of limitations to prosecute people that did illegal loans. But once again, you know, this kind of stuff we need to stop. So you have no fear, you know, but once again, I mean, you can put your business in a trust. You can operate a nonprofit through a charitable foundation trust instead of a 501, which is controlled by the Secretary of State. But see, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Clinton Foundation, the Trump Foundation, those are trusts. And you can also consider operating your business through a business trust. It's not part of the Secretary of State. You can do business in all 50 states. You don't have to file as a foreign corporation to do business in just that one state. I mean, to go, and so on. So you got a lot of benefits, but you got to get the wisdom, you got to get the knowledge, and you got to get the legalities of it before you launch. So get the foundation right. And one thing the Word of God tells you, I mean, if you understand it, if you really respect it, I used to think I was a hypocritical Christian after I started realizing I was going against everything God was saying, and I was expecting him to bless me. But, they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. And when you're in business, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So once again, there's options for you, and that's why I'm sure Pastor here is putting these panels together so we can get the foundation right, so you can do what you need to do as you do your part in rebuilding this kingdom and leaving inheritance to your children's children. God bless you.
Amen. We're almost out of time. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so within the last 24 hours, this is the second time I've heard about putting your business in a trust. So my question is, how do you go from idea to trust? What are the steps?
I don't know if we got enough time to answer that, but that's a good one. And what she asked is, how do you go from idea to trust? I'm going to broaden that. How do you go from idea to structure foundation? Okay, because everything starts with that seed of idea, and what we cannot be afraid. This is why I love Wednesday Bible School. What church is having something like this that encompasses talking about the Holy Spirit in one room, the life of Christ, money matters, and then business ideas, setting your business to biblical principles, okay? The greatest thing about it is, right here at our church, we have resources. I said it last week, Good Soil is a great resource. And I want to just put a plug right here, because when you are serious about your business, as you are because you're in this room, you will take the time to sign up and go through the process of understanding it from A to Z. How do you go from idea to fruition? You get information. You attach yourself to things and people who can help you, give you the foundation that you need. You pull your pride down and you take the class. You come in and you become a student. You're not afraid to expose what you have to see where your loopholes are, where your leaks are, where you're frail at, where your deficiencies. One of the reasons I asked us in the beginning is, what are you expecting? Because if you never expose yourself, you'll never be able to get filled up. You have to be bold about what it is that you want. So for everybody in here that's at a place of, I got this great idea, or maybe I started my business, or maybe it's in the first stage and I'm not sure, or I'm scared. I want to make sure that legally I'm set in a place where I don't get caught in a trap. There are resources. We talked about the Small Business Administration. There are classes that you can, free classes with the SBA.gov. Right here, there's a local chapter here in Dallas where they will give you information, take you through courses about starting your business, getting the line right. Good Soil is the same thing. Good Soil has a whole app. Signing up for the app allows you access to ask the questions that you need and connect with other business leaders who are doing it. Right in your church, if you network, this man was sitting here the whole time, has 5 successful businesses, comes to church every Sunday. Who are you sitting next to in the congregation that could be your key to your next? Who are you sitting to on your row every Sunday that you come, but because you won't open up your mouth and introduce yourself and start a conversation and dialogue and engage, you're now keeping yourself from the next place that you could be. Because remember, and I preached about this, it's going to come through collaboration. This next thing that God is going to do, it may not just be you by yourself. You may need to hook up with somebody. You may need to take your hair business with somebody's salon, with somebody's clothes business and say, listen, I couldn't do it on my own, but if the 3 of us get together, we could open up something that would change our community. We have to stop being siloed in an island and thinking, I don't want to share it, I don't want to give it because I'm afraid if I tell my idea, then somebody gonna steal it. Protect it, and they can't steal it. And then now network. There are 2 other slides, you'll see it. One is about influence, the other is about sustainability. As we close, understanding influence. I don't have time to go through it, influence and impact, because your business has to have influence. Jesus had influence in what he did, and your business has to have impact in the marketplace. What is influence? God is not going to just give you something that it blesses you to your children's children. Your business has to have influence in order for it to have impact. How are you building influence? By building your brand. How do you build your brand? By becoming a walking piece, a walking marketing piece for what it is that you do. You cannot be a hairdresser with your hair not done. How can you sell me? How can you get me to come to your beauty salon, your shop, your barber place, and you are not well manicured? What are you selling me? It's a false product. Now, because you have no influence, you cannot then have impact. Because your business is meant to have impact in the earth. Kingdom business, okay? I know we got to stop. We got security here. I promise. I'm sorry. I know. Any other questions? Any other questions? Somebody. Yeah. Well, hold on. Yes, I see him. Yes, sir. Great question. He said, how do I find a mentor? How do I find a mentor? And I know sometimes it can be daunting, sometimes it can be hard, sometimes we're not really wanting to open up, but it's that word we hear all the time, network and engagement. In order to find what you need, you have to say what you need. A lot of times, because of those voices, we are being too quiet. We are not putting ourselves out there. But I don't know what they're going to say about what I said. I don't know. My family ain't never had no business on. No. No, you have to. Perfect example. Most people that came in this room, you came and sat at a table, didn't introduce yourself, didn't say anything, didn't network. This is the first problem. Because if you want a mentor, or if you want to be in a space, or if you want to gather information and you're not taking advantage of the things right around you, how do you expect the flood to come and you're not even taking the dip out of the well that you're close to? A lot of times, see, Brother Secretary said to give you his card. Okay, see there? You have not because you ask not. There you go. That's what happens. Now, here's what happens. We'll look at that, and we'll clap, and we'll get salty. No. Get empowered. Get empowered. Get engaged. You come to a church with 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 people every Sunday and only know 2. And I'm not saying come to church to see who you can meet, whatever. I'm saying get involved, get engaged, meet somebody, talk about your ideas. See, God, why did you put me at the Potter's House? Out of all the churches in Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex that I could be at, why am I here? What am I doing? And have something to say. And don't look at somebody just for opportunity. Don't look at them, who gonna help me, who gonna help me? I need my business fund, I need no. Look at engagement, look at partnership. What is it that you do? And ask the question, how can I help you before you help me? You wanna understand, when people ask me to be the mentor, the one thing I say is, the first thing, I want you to help me, I want you to help me. Help you do what? Help me find money. Find money for what? Well, I got this business. Okay, so a lot of people got business. The one thing that disqualifies them, and not to say that I am so anything, but because time is my greatest asset, I cannot spend my time with someone who will not value what I am giving them. Because I can't get that back. I don't want to pour into a vessel that's leaking holes. Because everything I pour into you is going to leak out. But when I have a conversation with you and I say, what are your goals? My goal is this, and they're realistic goals, they're relevant goals, there's something that can be accomplished, then I know if I pour into you, it's going to stay. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, did you? Yes, sir. Y'all, we got Bishop 2 times in a row. We doing something. We do. 3.
Everybody got me. I went to all 4 classes.
You supposed to make us feel special, Bishop.
I'm sorry. I just want to say a couple of things. First of all, the little bit that I heard, I really enjoyed. Being in an atmosphere with people who are thinking is treasure. Don't be worried if you don't have it all together. Don't be worried if you don't have it all figured out. I'm 66 and I'm still figuring it out. The reason that is because it keeps changing. Okay, so the minute you become a master at something, you move to another realm. Okay, so don't be overwhelmed by this moment. The other thing I wanted to say, the lady who said, how do you put your idea in a trust? Yeah, that was you. I don't think I would put my idea in a trust. I'm not sure my idea deserves a trust because I've had a lot of ideas that were just ideas. And before you encapsulate and organize something that is still embryonic, okay, and has not been tested and has not been proven and has not been developed and has not justified the expense of putting it into a trust, let's practice it in a focus group. Let's do it in a microcosm. Let's do it in a small setting and see if it works. And let the idea earn its way to a trust. Okay? Once the idea earns its way into, first of all, before you put it in a trust, into a corporate construct, okay? And then it becomes an entity. But if I had a corporation for every idea I had, you know, I produce so many ideas a second. And so you get this idea and you're just convinced it's an amazing idea, but you have to remember that you are not your customer. So maybe your idea is to make mushroom soup. And you just love mushroom soup. And if I make mushroom soup, I'm going to be a millionaire, you know. Let's test this a little bit. Let's serve it a little bit. Let's get a focus group on it. Let's get other people help tell you who you are. Other people help tell you who you are. So I want to say that real quick. And I'm going to be real brief because I know he's over time and I don't want to make it worse. The other quick thing I wanted to mention to you, in about 2 weeks, I'm going to have inside Good Soil app an event called A Seat at the Table. And I'm going to bring together about 10 of the most profound, prolific people that I can muster. And we're going to stream it through the app and answer your questions. Okay? And I'm inviting you to have a seat at the table. Okay? So you can begin to sharpen and hone what God is doing in your life. Okay? Sometimes when you hear people who have done something incredibly, amazingly well, like what he's doing, and you're still living with your mama, you know, what's meant to encourage you can discourage you because you think, well, I'm late, you know, why did God do it? God doesn't deal with everybody the same way or at the same time, okay? There are lots of people that didn't find their career till they were 50. You know, there are other people that were millionaires at 17. So God's timing plays a part in it. Your maturity plays a part in it. Finding yourself plays a part in it. I just want to, right now, don't worry about being great. Worry about being in the room. Because if you're in the room with people who are talking like that, it changes the way you think. The biggest thing, I didn't hear all of what he said, but the biggest thing out of what I heard that he said is when you hear people who think like that, it changes who you want to be around. And that is the beginning of a transformation that may be fast or may be slow, may be quick. And then we have a tendency to tell people when we won and say nothing about when we lost. And a lot of times you fail your way forward. Okay? And so you have to keep going till you hit that thing. I pastored, for example, 10 years and didn't have 200 people. Suppose I'd have quit. Okay? I didn't have, my whole church would fit in our choir stand at its zenith, counting pregnant people and dead folks. You know, that might look like failure, but what it was, I was trying to build a church and God was trying to build me. And sometimes we're so busy trying to build something that we don't realize that sometimes God puts you in situations to build you. Maybe you're not ready for it. Maybe your family's not ready for it. Maybe you're ready for it, but your kids can't handle it. Maybe you can do it, but you're going to lose your marriage in the middle of doing it. There's a whole lot of things that have to come together in order for you to be able to do it. But I didn't get up here and say all this. Now I'm talking too much. But if you want to sit at the table, and it's 2 weeks from now, we haven't even begun to promote it. We're primarily going to be talking about it in the app. And I won't get to every question because it'll be more people in the room than what we can answer. But it's going to be, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it a couple of times. I have learned so much being in the room. And to have this man's card, that's an amazing thing. But what I want you to think of is what value can you add to him? I don't care what it is. And you got to be humble. I don't care if it's washing cars. A lot of times when people ask successful people to mentor them, it's like you don't have nothing to do. But successful people are real busy. When I get ready to pitch a corporation to do a deal, I never go in there asking them what they can do for me. I study what their needs are, And then I tell them what I have to offer, and I say, I am available to serve you. Okay? It's hard to say no to somebody who says, I'm available to serve you, and they actually show up, and they actually do it, and you get in the room. Like I was with the CEO of AT&T, former CEO of AT&T, and we were talking about reentry programs. And he said, I want to take people who were formerly incarcerated and make them caddies on the golf course. I said, caddies on the golf course? He said, yeah, because he said, in our world, to hear numbers we ignore. But if we meet you and we like you and we build a relationship with you, you become a person and we're not scared of you and we'll hire you. You understand what I'm saying? So Randall Stevenson was then the CEO of AT&T at the time and negotiated the deal where AT&T got their name on the stadium on his way to the airport on the phone to Jerry Jones. Check if you want to know where you're at versus where you need to go, check your phone. Your phone will always tell you where you're at by who you call, who you spend the most time talking to, has a lot to do with your net worth. Okay? Your net worth is right in your phone. I don't have to investigate you or anything. If you let me see who you spend the most time talking to, I can tell you how much you're worth. Your net worth, not how much you're worth. Your net worth, okay? So what begins to happen, I'm not saying that you start being mean to people and you start blocking everybody. I'm saying that sometimes you don't return every call because you're doing something. And so we might text every 2 weeks instead of every day. Doesn't mean I don't love you, but I'm after something. Say that with me, I'm after something. Okay? And what I do a lot of times when people call me and I'm in the middle of something, I say, I'm going to hit you up later, I'm after something. When I tell you I'm after something like a pit bull in a dark alley. I mean, because that's how hard you have to go to get it. I'll say this final thing, and third closing, I quit. A gentleman who runs a major corporation said something to me that I have never forgotten. He said, when our partners got better, our business got better. When our partners got better, our business got better. You cannot do business with thugs and expect for things to get better. So so on the other hand, how do I get those kind of partners? You can't start at the top. I felt your question. I didn't even hear it. Integrity does not have a price tag on it. You might not can get to Oprah's phone number. Yeah, I'm sure you can. I'm almost positive you can. You don't need it. Just make sure the people that you connect with, none of them are perfect now. Don't mistake morality and character. Okay? See, because they don't always hold hands. You have to realize integrity means that what you say you're going to do, you do it. Okay? And if you keep teaching me that I can't trust what you say, then I need to learn that. And I need to put myself around people who actually deliver, and I need to make sure that I deliver. Okay? I need to make sure that I deliver. Final thing. Right, tomorrow afternoon, I fly to go speak for Joyce Myers Friday morning. I'm already packed. I'm already packed. I'm not going to wait till 2 hours before I leave and start throwing stuff in the bag, trying to get ready for what I'm going to do next. I'm already packed for where I'm going next days in advance. Okay? I pack more than one suit in case one tears or something spills on it. I got a backup plan. I'm talking about the way you think, the way winners think. Okay? So what you need to do, I'm not saying don't watch TV or all that kind of stuff. All that scrolling on that phone for hours and hours and hours, scrolling through people who don't even know what they're talking about and teaching you all kinds of stuff and scaring you to death. And if you was born in this month, between January and February, somebody in your life is going to break your heart. All that stuff, that don't pay nobody. That's for people who aren't going anywhere. I'm packed for where I'm going. You should write that down. I'm packed for where I'm going. Okay? So everything that's not moving you toward where you're going, you need to move it aside. You don't have to be mean, you don't have to be nasty, but if you are seriously trying to go somewhere, and it's hard to be a young man with a big dream, because I've been one. Because you wonder, am I an imposter? Do I have what it takes? Can I do it? Can I make it? And it won't leave me alone and it won't go away. Read. If you can't read, get audiobooks. If you can't get audiobooks, get in the room where they're talking and learn what's important. And start packing for where you're going. Okay? Now, when I was running around being crazy, my wardrobe looked like where I was going. Okay? If you really think you're going up, start making different choices in how you present yourself. I'm not talking about always walking around in a suit, but pack for where you're going. If you can't read there, you can download apps that summarize books. Okay? And you can get a summary of it and start talking, start reading it, listening at it. Find something, and this is how you tell who your friends are. When you start reading and you start talking what you're reading and they look bored, you're in the wrong crowd. You want to be in the crowd that when you start talking about that, they say, yeah, child, let me tell you about this part. Did you know so and so and so and so and so and so? You almost want to be around people who make you feel stupid because they give you capacity to grow. So I'm going to stop. I said way too much. I took up too much time. Thank you. God bless you. Take care.
Come on, let's salute. Let's salute. Let's salute. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I know that finger.
A seat at the table is priceless. Being in this room is priceless. No matter what level you're on, if you're in this room and they're talking like this, some of it, at least some of it is getting through. It may not be all of it, but some of it is getting through to you. It's getting into your head. It's getting into your thought process. It's changing the way you think. It's changing what you want. So when you go back to your homeboys and they be talking about, you know what they be talking about? You won't be so interested because you start noticing that they broke and they ain't going nowhere, and what they talking about is for free. Don't look embarrassed. But when you start getting around people who are going somewhere and they're packing for where they're going, and I'm never going to wait till I get there to pack. I'm going to start packing for it in advance so that when I get ready to go, it's already packed. So plan on what's next. Move everything out of the way that's stopping you from what's next. Clean up. Organize so that you don't lose time and become, some of you are exhausted because you're disorganized. You're depleted because you are disorganized. Everything that matters. You take you 30 minutes to find your shoe. Where is my shoe? Where is my shoe? Get yourself ready where you can move. Have 2 or 3 things that you know you can wear into any situation and look right. Okay? And break your pattern. Go to things you don't normally go to. I mean, way off your pattern. Okay? They asked me to be on the governor's board for the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. Okay? This is my second term on the governor's board of the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. I can barely read a hymn. But I'm in the room, and I got a seat at the table where people think differently about resources, which changed the way I thought. And now I have to be careful who I talk to, because once you start thinking on a certain level, people who think on another level either come up or they start throwing rocks at you because they don't understand the language you are speaking. So this is why we're doing this. So that I got tired of seeing people come to the altar asking for prayer for a car. They thought they needed God. Good people thought they needed God to have a car. You need God to part the Red Sea. You need God to make your kidneys start working when they fail. You need God for God's sake. You don't need God for a car. If you got a 7.0 credit score and you got cash flow, you can have a car. If you don't, and you got a 6 point, come on, somebody. You got a 6 point, you can still get a car. It may not be the car of your dreams, but you can get a car. You stop asking God to do stuff that structure and order will give you, so that you will recognize what miracles really are. Miracles are not the things you can do for yourself. God didn't brush my teeth. He could have. He didn't. You know why? He gave me the power to brush my teeth. And this is what God's going to do. He's not going to rain money down on nobody. He said it is God that gives us power to get wealth. He didn't say he gave you wealth. He gives you power to get wealth. Okay? He gave me power to brush my teeth. So he didn't brush them. This is my prayer for you. Show me my power. Show me my power. Because most of us have spent a lifetime of people who constantly reinforce what was wrong with you. Show me my power, not my pain. Not my pain. We're too sensitive. We're too emotional. We spend too much time worried about who's talking about us, what they think about us. Well, how can I get them to stop talking about it? What kind of prize do you get for that? If they like you, what do you get? So stop thinking that somebody's mind being changed adds something to you. It don't matter what they think. Ask any successful or powerful person if they care what you said about them on Instagram. You understand? You can't afford to be distracted because it's going to take all of your energy. It's going to take all of your energy to run your business. Because if you're not running your business, you're dealing with your kids. If you're not dealing with your kids, you're dealing with your ex-wife. If you're not dealing with your ex-wife, you're dealing with your mother-in-law. If you're not dealing with your mother-in-law, you're dealing with your mama. If you're not dealing with your mama, your daddy just called drunk 3 o'clock in the morning, ran the car. Come on, come on, come on. All this is still going to be going on while you're building. Are you following what we're saying? So listen, you going to close? I'm going to close.
What you, sir? The survey. All I'm gonna say is a survey. As Bishop closes us out, after he closes us out, please, they want us to fill out the survey. If you didn't get a chance to give, please, here's the options to give. Back to you, Bishop.
Yeah. I didn't hear all of what he said. This might not be totally true, but just based on the little bit that I heard that he said, you know what his richest commodity is? Courage. You have to have crazy courage to take on 3 businesses at the same time and know nothing about none of them. Courage. 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 Not crazy courage where you leap off the building. Throw yourself off the mountain and the angels will bear you up. I'm not talking about that. But courage. It takes courage to live, to raise children. It takes courage to hold a marriage together. It takes courage. 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 How do I get courage? Change how you talk to you. Change what if you don't have courage, it's because of what you say to you. You dumb, you stupid, you dark, you light, you fat, you ugly, you too old, you waited too late. That's not going to build courage. Courage. That man just showed you courage. The courage turned to currency. That courage turns to currency. And it's not just a courage to win, it's a courage to fail. It's the courage to take the risk and not to get mad at yourself and get down on yourself and go into 6 months of depression because it didn't work. You know what I do when something don't work? I say, well, next, let me try something else. Yeah, next. Yeah, I'm going to keep on hitting. Something is going to work, okay? All right, fill out your forms because it helps to educate us on how to serve you. We are trying to figure out how to best serve this church. Is this good? I have been coming on Wednesday school for 3 weeks and have said almost nothing because I'm trying to see what works in the climate we're in to meet your needs more effectively. And everybody keeps saying to me, you ain't teaching? Stay at home, you need some rest. Yeah, I need some rest. But I need to watch. I need to watch. When he goes back to that restaurant, he got to watch. He can't be cooking. He got to watch. He got to go to other folks' restaurants and watch. You got to watch. You got to watch and see what you can drag back home that makes you better. Am I telling the truth? I know what I'm talking about. You got to watch. It's not just going to school. You can have more degrees than a thermometer and be broke as a hound dog. Go to school, it's wonderful. But if you don't watch, you don't learn. Okay? So thank you for this class. We're doing this. Let me tell you something. When I sat in the worship service, I was watching the worship service and I was watching it on YouTube. I had YouTube going in my ear from one class and watching another one. I got in between two classes and stood in the door and listened at both teachers. Leadership is not sitting in your office getting with a big title being important. You got to see what's going on, and you can't take everybody's word for it. I went to every class every week to see what atmosphere you create, how much engagement is going on. Are they having a good time? You cannot get what you expect if you don't inspect. Am I telling the truth? You got to inspect it. I could be in the bed right now. I need to be in the bed right now. But if I don't inspect it, I don't get to expect it. Then I'm going to huddle with all of my leaders and say, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What are we doing about this? What are we doing about the other? I'm inspected for what's right and what's wrong. And the leader who cannot take criticism is not worthy to lead. If this is me, if I can't be chastened, I'm a bastard. That's biblical. The Bible said, whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth. So we got to be able to talk about these dirty dishes that's been standing here for 6 months. There come a point, we got to have a conversation. And that don't mean I don't love you. That don't mean we can't be together and everything like that. But we can't keep avoiding the fact that this chicken has been in here for 12 months and it's stinking and somebody about to get sick. Confronting problems is part of leadership. You cannot correct what you will not confront. You cannot correct what you will not confront. Ain't no need in putting it in a sermon. Ain't no need in writing it in lipstick on the mirror. And you don't have to be nasty to confront it. You don't have to be nasty. People who get nasty because they're scared. And the anger is how they cover up the fact that they're afraid. So they go off on you before you go off on them. I'm sick of you and I'm tired of this. You don't have to say that. You don't have to say that. I think there's another way we might be able to do this better. What do you think about this? Let's have a discussion. You understand what I'm saying? Am I helping anybody? Yes. Okay, I'm going to let you go home. Y'all glad y'all had a good time? Give it up for Dr. Oscar Williams. He been doing commercials for you. He been doing commercials for you. Every time he get around me, he be giving me commercials about you. If I had not come in here tonight, I probably would have had to have bodyguards follow me home. Yeah, so I enjoyed you. Thank you so much. God bless you. And to all of you, you're an impressive group. Absolutely. When I was here last week, I went back bragging, one about the teacher, but also about the students. You're an impressive group. Believe in yourself. Okay? Right. Now unto him that's able to keep us from falling, present us faultless before the coming of the Lord Jesus. To the only wise God, our Father, be glory, dominion, and power, world without end, throughout all ages. In Jesus' name, amen.
Come on, let's salute our pastor. Come on, we can do better than that. Let's salute him, let's salute him, let's salute him. Come on, let's let him feel the love. Let him feel the love. Amen. As you leave this place, let's leave expeditiously, but please meet somebody, gather with someone, hug on somebody, love on someone. We'll see you next week at Wednesday school. Okay, love you guys.